Hi, everybody. Alina's Zweidler-McKay with ZM Coach, where we're all about helping you take your career to the next level, whether that's moving up in your current organization or finding a new job somewhere else. So, a couple of weeks ago, gosh, a month ago now, I think, somewhere in there, I sprained my knee. And this is a new experience for me. I haven't really had very many big injuries, knock on wood, in my life. And it's been a learning experience, figuring out how to ask for help and accept help. I've traveled a couple of different trips with my husband. I think I mentioned my last recording, or one of these was from um, San Diego or Bermuda or something. We've been able to do some really cool travel, which has been great. But I have had to definitely lean on um, my husband and others for help, wheeling me on a wheelchair through the airport. We moved my son into college and I wasn't able to lift everything. I had to find a role that I could play where I was the one in charge of the checklist, which I would have been anyway, but normally I'd be running around filling the checklist in addition to just checking it off. But sitting there with my knee up and ice pack on it, there wasn't much more I could do. But today I had my first session with a physical therapist, and it was such a reminder to me about the value of working with a professional. It occurred to me as I was kind of in her good hands, and she was, taking a look at my knee and figuring out what was going on with it. On the internet, there are 7 million different exercises that you could do. If you Google sprained knee, there's like a million different stretches and exercises and things like that that you could do. But I'll admit, when I tried to look some of that stuff up on my own, I was really anxious about which ones to do. And, you know, um, knowing like what would be exactly the right fit for my knee. But meeting with this physical therapist, she did the exam, she took a look at it, she understood my situation, and based on that gave me some specific exercises that were tailored right to me. And so one of the reasons to work with a professional is because they can really help you come up with the right strategy for your situation. I know I do this as a coach for my clients. There are a million different strategies when it comes to leadership. There are a lot of different approaches that you can take when it comes to leading a challenging employee, or working with a difficult colleague, or even, trying to manage up to a boss who's maybe not a great fit for you. But knowing exactly which of those strategies to apply to your situation can be tricky. And so having someone who really knows was so helpful to me in terms of really deciding which exercises I'll do now for my knee and which ones I might do later. And that's the other thing that's really helpful. That was really helpful for me, was that sense of timing, that I didn't have to try to do everything all at once, but that there's this plan that we're going to go through step by step, where I'm going to start with these things now, these particular strategies and exercises. And then over time, we're going to add different ones and build on that. And knowing that at the end of the period of having done the physical therapy, I'm going to go from now where I'm sort of limping on my knee to a place where we're really strengthening my legs and both knees, and getting me ready for my usual activities again. So that sense of timing, that sense of having a plan, that sense of knowing how the strategies are going to sequence together, I found really reassuring. And I think my clients do too. Often people will come to me and they're in a difficult situation and they don't know, for example, should I stay in this job or should I move to a different one? And we're able to come up with a series of strategies that we sort of sequence together that get them real clarity. Sometimes it might be steps that they can take to try to get into a better situation in their current organization, and they can see how that plays out and then decide to move. Sometimes it might be working in parallel, where they're doing some exploration outside their company as well as inside their company, so they can find the right role for them. Sometimes clients come to me because they're new in a role and they want to be able to, really take up their leadership effectively as they're stepping into this new role. And in that moment, it feels like there are 75 things you have to do at once, right? So helping them really map that into a solid plan, and put the steps in place so that they can be building rapport, building relationships, getting off on the right foot, showing that they know what they're doing, making a real contribution right away, but not not with this avalanche of everything landing on them at once. So strategies, and also that sense of sequence and timing and really having a plan, are two of the reasons that I'm excited to be working with a physical therapist, and I think that can also serve people when they're working with a career coach. The third one is the tools. So it hasn't happened yet for me in this round of physical therapy, but I know several years ago when my son was dealing with something, the therapist was providing him with those stretchy bands. Now, of course, I could go out and just buy those at some sporting goods store, but having the therapist know exactly which tools to use and when, and like use this band now, and then we move you up to this other band, or, the different kind of tools and techniques to use at different levels, and then being able to provide those. That was another thing that I found really helpful for my son's physical therapy, and that I think my clients, again, find helpful, because we provide not just coaching, but also some really solid frameworks and tools that our clients can use at different stages in their leadership journey, whether that's clarifying roles with and expectations with members of their team, or learning how to communicate more effectively, or making the case for a particular initiative or something that they want to move through the organization, and analyzing kind of who are their stakeholders and how to communicate with them. We have some very specific frameworks and tools that we provide, just like those bands that my son's physical therapist gave him, that our clients can use and apply to their situation and really move through whatever it is that they need to move through. And then the fourth thing, obviously, is the accountability. Like, sure, I could look up I could look up exercises and I might do them left to my own devices. If I'm really paying attention and I'm really being accountable to myself, I will. But I'll tell you, having an appointment with the therapist where I know that she's going to ask me, did you do your exercises? That's one of the motivators to actually getting up and doing them, and making sure that I'm, putting in the reps to get stronger. And that same thing can be really helpful for someone who's trying to move up in their career, whether that's, daily activities that you need to take on, maybe some kind of planning for your day so you don't just jump in nilly-willy, or some kind of practice that you want to do, whether that's practicing a presentation or practicing gratitude. Having somebody there that's meeting with you regularly and sort of keeping you on track, that kind of accountability in a relationship with a coach, is so important and so valuable, and certainly something I've used my own executive coach for, in addition to obviously the physical therapist. But anyway, coming out of physical therapy today, it just dawned on me how helpful it was to have somebody who knew the strategies, who could look at my situation and tell me which ones would work for me, who could sequence them out into a plan that's all about helping me get where I want to go, who could give me the right tools and set me up with the right strategy, and then really hold me accountable. Like, all of that seems like exactly the reason to work with a professional, whether that's, something physical like a trainer or a physical therapist, or a career coach who can help you move toward your career goals. If you're interested in having somebody support you in those kinds of ways in your own career so that you can get to where you want to go, we'd be happy to talk to you about that, and we'd be delighted to do that for you. You can reach out to a member of my team at zmcoach.com/apply, I believe. We'll put the link in the thing. Anyway, get on the phone with us. We'll talk to you for about 45 minutes about where you are now, your current situation, where you want to go. And if we can help you get from here to there, we'll talk to you about some of the tools and strategies and approaches that we'll use to get there. And, if it feels like a fit for us to work together, we would be delighted to help you get to your goals. If we're not the right fit, if what you want is something we don't do, we will absolutely tell you that too, and point you to other resources if we can. Because our goal is for you to walk away from that call with some real clarity and some real next steps that you can take so that you get unstuck and moving forward, building yourself into a strong and healthy career. Take care.